Don't eat that food. Every head turns. A small black girl, 12 years old, barefoot, clothes filthy, bursts through the service door. The Sterling Room's grand ballroom, 300 guests in designer gowns, freezes in shock. Security guards lunge. She dodges, wild-eyed, desperate. "Sir, please, the soup. It's poison." At the head table, William Sterling, billionaire philanthropist, sits before French onion soup. His spoon hovers mid-air. Gregory Hamilton, suited nephew at Sterling's side, stands abruptly, face draining pale, then flushing crimson. "Remove this vagrant immediately." But the girl's eyes lock on the soup. Her nostrils flare, catching something in the air, something deadly beneath the rich aroma of caramelized onions and aged Gruyere. Something no one else in this room of Manhattan's wealthiest can detect. Sterling's spoon freezes. What does a homeless child know that a room of billionaires cannot see? 6 hours earlier, Diana Turner wakes on cardboard behind a dumpster in Hell's Kitchen. January cold bites through her oversized men's jacket. Donated 3 sizes too large, but warm enough to survive another night. Her stomach cramps. She hasn't eaten in 2 days. Against her chest, she clutches a worn leather journal. The cover, once pristine, now shows water stains and frayed edges embossed in fading gold. Andre Turner, master chef, personal recipes. She opens it carefully, as she does every morning. Her father's handwriting fills every page, not just recipes but memories. Notes, warnings. On one page, dated 3 years ago when she was 9, he'd written in the margins, "Diana, baby, if you ever smell bitter almonds in food, run. That's cyanide. Never forget." She traces the words with her finger. 2 years since the explosion. 2 years since the kitchen at the Sterling Room became an inferno that swallowed her father whole. 2 years of foster homes where she was just another black girl nobody wanted, where bruises came easy and questions went unanswered. 2 years of running, hiding, surviving alone on streets that didn't care if she lived or died. She tucks the journal inside her jacket and stands, knees aching from the cold concrete. Today, she'll try the soup kitchen on 9th Avenue. But first, she needs to find somewhere warm. Across town, the Sterling Room kitchen operates like a symphony of controlled chaos. Chef Brendan Cooper, 50 years old with 30 years of Michelin-starred experience, barks orders over the clang of pots and hiss of searing meat. Sous chefs dice vegetables with surgical precision. The prep line moves like clockwork. Tonight's Culinary Excellence Awards Gala will serve 300 of New York's wealthiest, and every detail must be flawless. Above the kitchen, in an office lined with awards and framed reviews, William Sterling reviews the evening's guest list. At 68, he's donated $500 million to charitable causes, scholarships for underprivileged students, food programs for the homeless, grants for aspiring chefs. Tonight, he'll announce his largest legacy project yet, a $200 million Youth Culinary Institute that will train the next generation. Regardless of background, his nephew, Gregory Hamilton, stands by the window, watching the city below. He sips a whiskey, his knuckles white on the glass. Gregory's investments have failed, his debts are staggering, and his only hope is the inheritance he expects upon his uncle's death, an event he has grown tired of waiting for. The phone on Sterling's desk buzzes. It's Chef Cooper. A minor crisis with the truffle shipment. Sterling excuses himself, leaving Gregory alone in the office. Gregory moves to the desk, his eyes falling on the signed will in an open drawer. He reads it, his face tightening. The $200 million institute is the centerpiece. His own inheritance is reduced to a paltry trust fund. A cold fury settles in his gut. He knows the menu by heart. The French onion soup, his uncle's favorite, is the first course. He knows the kitchen's rhythm. He knows where Chef Cooper keeps his prized Spanish saffron, and more importantly, the small, locked case where he keeps specialty ingredients for tasting. It contains a vial of pure bitter almond oil, used in minute, controlled drops for certain classic pastries. An idea, monstrous and precise, takes root. Diana wanders near the Sterling Room, drawn by the distant warmth of the kitchen vents and the familiar, painful memories they carried. She watches through a grate as a delivery of fresh produce arrives. A sous chef, rushing and stressed, drops a case of shallots. They roll toward the alley. Diana seizes her chance, darting in to help gather them, her small hands quick. The sous chef, grateful, nods toward the service entrance. "Get lost, kid, but here." He tosses her a fresh roll. It's still warm. She retreats, devouring it, and lingers, watching the ballet of the kitchen through the propped open door. She sees him then, Gregory, in an impeccable suit, entering the kitchen, waving away assistants, saying he's just checking on the soup for his uncle. He moves with a false confident ease. Diana's eyes, sharpened by survival, catch the unnatural tension in his shoulders. She watches as he distracts a line cook with a question about the stock, his hand moving over the row of 8 soup crocks, simmering on the station for the head table. From his pocket, a small dropper finds its way into the crock second from the left. A scent, faint, alien, and deadly, cuts through the steam for a split second. Bitter almonds. The memory is a lightning strike. Her father's journal, his warning, the words she traced every morning. Her blood turns to ice. She doesn't have the full picture, but she knows poison. She knows death is in that pot. The service door slams shut. She is locked out. For 6 hours, Diana plots, waits, and despairs. She tries to tell a police officer, who dismisses her as a hungry child. Fabricating tales. She tries to get back into the kitchen, but security is tightened. As the guests arrive in glittering gowns and tuxedos, she knows only a direct, desperate intervention will work. She finds a discarded cleaner's uniform, too large, and uses it to blend in, slipping through the chaos of final preparations. Now in the grand ballroom, time hangs suspended. Sterling's spoon is an inch from his lips. The security guards have her by the arms. Gregory's voice is a venomous shout. "She's a thief and a liar. Get her out." But Sterling, a man who built his fortune on noticing what others overlooked, sees the raw, unvarnished truth in Diana's terror. He lowers his spoon. "Wait!" he commands, his voice quiet but slicing through the room. He looks at the girl. "What is your name?" Diana Turner, sir." The name sends a shockwave through the older staff. Chef Cooper, who had rushed from the kitchen, pales. "Andre's girl?" Sterling's eyes widen in recognition. "Your father was a great chef. A good man." He looks from Diana's desperate face to the soup, then to Gregory, whose panic is now poorly concealed. "You say it's poison. How do you know?" "I smelled it." "Bitter almonds. My dad, he taught me. In his journal, he said it's cyanide." A gasp ripples through the room. Sterling nods to Chef Cooper. "Brandon?" The chef, solemn, approaches. He sniffs the soup cautiously, then more deeply, his expert nose sorting through the layers. His face goes grim. "There's something there, William. Faint under the cheese and wine. But it's there. Bitter almonds." Sterling pushes the soup away. He turns to Gregory. The nephew is backing away, his eyes darting toward the exit. "You were in the kitchen today, Gregory, alone." "It's not a question." Gregory's facade crumbles. "You were going to leave me penniless. After everything I've done for you." His confession is explosive, desperate. He makes a run for it, but is swiftly tackled by the very security guards who had grabbed Diana. The ballroom erupts in chaos. Sterling stands, his attention fixed on the shivering girl in the oversized uniform. He removes his own tuxedo jacket and wraps it around her shoulders. It swallows her small frame. "You saved my life, Diana Turner," he says, his voice thick with emotion. "And in doing so you have exposed a rot in my own house." He addresses the stunned room. "The gala is over, but the mission is not. This young woman has shown us that wisdom and courage have no address, no price tag. She has shown us what truly needs to be seen." He looks down at Diana. "Your father's journal. Does it speak of his dream?" Diana, trembling, pulls the worn book from inside her clothes. He wanted to teach, to have a small school." Sterling takes the journal gently, his fingers brushing over her father's name. "Then tonight we honor Andre Turner not with a moment of silence, but with a declaration of sound." He helps her onto the podium next to the microphone. Her small, dirty feet stand beside his polished shoes. "My new culinary institute," Sterling announces, his voice booming with new purpose, "will bear the name of the man who taught his daughter to recognize poison, both in food and in the hearts of men. It will be called the Turner Legacy Academy, and its first full scholarship student. And my personal ward will be Diana Turner. The room, after a stunned second, breaks into thunderous applause. Diana looks out at the sea of faces, no longer seeing judgment or indifference, but a dawning respect. The story doesn't end with a hug. It ends with a shared nod between a billionaire and an orphan. A promise to rebuild from the ashes of tragedy and betrayal. Gregory is led away by police. The poisoned soup is sealed as evidence, and Diana, still clutching her father's journal, allows herself for the first time in 2 years to feel the warmth of safety and the first faint stir of a future she dared not dream. The applause that filled the grand ballroom was a physical force, a warm wave that washed over Diana for the first time in 2 years. It wasn't the silence of the streets or the harsh whispers of a foster home. It was recognition. As the noise settled into a murmur of shocked conversation, William Sterling kept his hand on her shoulder, a steady anchor. He leaned into the microphone once more. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's menu has understandably been disrupted. However, the kitchen will now serve a simple, safe, and exquisite meal prepared under Chef Cooper's direct supervision. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. He then turned, his voice lowering, meant only for her and the chef. Brandon, my office now, and bring something warm for Diana to eat. Minutes later, Diana sat wrapped in a soft blanket on a plush leather sofa in Sterling's office, a bowl of creamy tomato soup and buttery bread rolls on the table before her. She ate slowly, savoring each bite, under the watchful, grief-stricken eyes of Chef Cooper. Andre was my friend, the chef said, his voice rough. The explosion, the investigation said it was a faulty gas line. But after tonight, Sterling finished the thought, his gaze hard. We will have it reopened. Gregory had access, motive, and we now know a capacity for murder. He looked at Diana. You didn't just save me tonight. Diana, you may have unveiled the truth about your father. Diana nodded, the weight of the revelation settling beside the exhaustion. The journal, she said softly. He wrote about the pressures, about someone wanting his recipes, wanting him gone. I never understood, until I saw his nephew's face over that soup. Sterling picked up the worn journal with reverence. This, he said, is not just a book of recipes. It is a legacy, and the founding text of the Turner Legacy Academy. You will help us build it. He made a call, and within the hour, a kind-faced woman from his legal team arrived. Temporary guardianship papers were drawn up, not out of pity, but out of responsibility and respect. Diana would leave with Sterling that night, not for a mansion, but to his private apartment in the city, a secure, warm place where she could sleep without fear. As they drove away from the Sterling room, Diana looked back at the glittering building, now a place of both tragedy and redemption. She clutched her father's journal to her chest. The hunger in her belly was gone, replaced by a different kind of ache, one for the future. William Sterling looked at the determined set of her jaw in the passing streetlights and saw not a homeless child, but a survivor, a witness, and the key to a legacy he now vowed to protect. The story of the girl who smelled cyanide in a billionaire's ballroom was just the beginning. Her father's truth was still out there, and together they would find it. For now the city slept, unaware that a new, powerful alliance had been forged in the scent of bitter almonds, and the courage it unveiled. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel, Kindness True Stories. The next inspiring story is coming very soon, so make sure to subscribe.